This Roborock vacuum is hundreds of dollars cheaper than the flagships, and it has 2 spinning mops. So let's put it through some scientific testing using my 3 sweet little monsters. 4. And we'll see how it compares against the more expensive flagship models. This video is sponsored by Roborock, and the only reason I said yes is because I've been using Roborock vacuums for the last 4 years and they've never let me down. My S7 MaxV Ultra has about 136,000 square feet of cleaning under its belt, and I've had nothing but good experiences. But that vacuum is about $500 more than this new Q Revo, and the new one has similar features, so let's see how it does. Alright, first, mopping, since the design is so radically different from the Roborock vacuums we're used to seeing. The Q Revo is Roborock's first vacuum with dual spinning mops. Some of the other Roborocks had the mopping pad that vibrates back and forth, and it works great. But these spinning mops kind of make sense too, wax on, wax off. You can remove the circular mop pads, and the mop attachments have magnets. So they just magnetically attach to the bottom. It's so easy, I love magnets. The mop can also raise and lower. You can actually manually do this by just rotating the mop, but there's not really a need to because the vacuum automatically does it. This allows the mop to raise up when the vacuum detects carpet. The distance it can raise and lower is pretty significant. This is also on the Roborock flagship models, and they nail this feature. I don't have to do any configuration in the app for this to work. When my vacuum is on the tile, it will vacuum and mop, and when it's on the carpet, only the vacuum runs. It's so hands-off, I love it. Alright, let's see this dual spinning mop in action. I tested it with freshly spilled soda and it picked it up great. Next, I tested the soda that had spilled a few hours earlier and was dry. Again, it had no problems. As you can see, the floor looks clean and it did not feel sticky at all. I ran the exact same test with the S8 Pro Ultra and had the same results. I knew I had to take it up a notch, so I gave my daughter a fruit bar without a plate. Uh-oh! These are the stickiest things ever. It's difficult to see the stickiness, but trust me, I can feel it. I had the vacuum do multiple passes, and at the end, the Q Revo left the ground clean. It wasn't sticky at all. The S8 Pro Ultra also did a great job, but there was a very small amount of stickiness left over. In day-to-day use, these are gonna be about the same, but it mostly comes down to whichever one you prefer. Okay, but what about when stuff is left on the floor? Just like the flagship Roborocks, the Q Revo has obstacle avoidance. But it's not the same, and this is where it gets interesting. The flagship S7 MaxV Ultra has an onboard camera to detect objects. It's useful, but some people were concerned about privacy. So the new vacuums like the Q Revo and the S8 Pro Ultra don't even have a camera on board, so that's great to see, or not see. So if you skip the S7 MaxV Ultra because of privacy fears, then you might like these new ones without a camera. Instead, they use a structured light algorithm to detect and avoid obstacles in real time. The more expensive S8 Pro Ultra has an advanced version with 3D imaging that's supposed to give better results. But I'm a little skeptical of how the whole no camera thing's gonna work out. So let's test out the Q Revo with some obstacles. All I have to do is stop telling my kids to clean up for 2 minutes and it turns into this. As you can see, the Q Revo can avoid big obstacles, but not smaller objects. The type of little things a robot vacuum might get jammed on. And it got stuck multiple times on all this stuff. If you pay more for the flagship S8 Pro Ultra, it does a better job with the more advanced 3D imaging. It still got stuck on some of the smaller things as well, but it was less frequent and it's definitely a step up from the Q Revo. The S7 MaxV Ultra with the cameras did the best. It never got stuck and avoided everything perfectly. Plus it gives you the added benefit of remote viewing to check in on things. Nice! You can see in the app what each vacuum saw. The Q Revo shows just objects. The S8 Pro Ultra tries to guess and it was pretty far off most of the time. The S7 MaxV Ultra identified everything, since it can actually see it. I think that there's more at play here though. The S7 MaxV Ultra has had a year of firmware updates to improve the obstacle detection. And if you watch my S7 MaxV Ultra review, you'll see that the obstacle avoidance wasn't perfect, and it's definitely improved. But the real question is, can the Q Revo avoid dog poop? Time for the fake poop test. After freaking out my kids with this, I threw it on the floor for a test, and the Q Revo avoided it, but it got way too close for comfort. The more advanced S8 Pro Ultra and S7 MaxV Ultra stayed far away since they both clearly recognized it as doo-doo. Once it's done mopping and dodging poop, the vacuum heads back to the dock. I love these docks because they clean your robot vacuum so it can keep cleaning your house faster without any interaction from you. It's amazing! This dock has most of the same features of the flagships, but not all. Above where the vacuum goes is the bag to empty the dustbin. So once the vacuum's done cleaning, the dock will suck everything out of the robot vacuum and into the bag. On top are the two water tanks. One is filled with clean water that refills the mop's vacuum mop tank, so you can mop your entire house, and the water tank built into the vacuum always stays full. It's so much better than it used to be, where you'd have to refill the little mop water tank and clean the mop like every 20 or so minutes. Yeah, no thanks. The Q Revo dock will scrub the mop and continue cleaning it throughout the mopping process. Or actually, I should say, it's the mop that scrubs the dock. Since the mop already rotates, it doesn't need a whole lot of moving parts in the dock to scrub the mop like the flagship models do. It's probably one of the ways Roborock was able to keep the cost down. You can adjust the mop cleaning frequency in the app, and this takes away almost all the annoyances of mopping. Then all the dirty water from cleaning the mop goes into the second water tank. If either the clean water tank gets too low or the dirty water tank gets too full, the app will send you a notification. The dock will also have a red light showing that it won't mop until it's fixed. What's cool is the app will actually show you what is too empty or too full. But like I said, this dock is missing something the more expensive models have. The S7 MaxV Ultra and the S8 Pro Ultra docks have a self-cleaning feature. Yeah, that's right. The vacuums clean the floors, the docks clean the vacuums, and then the docks clean themselves. It's absurd and amazing. The Q Revo doesn't offer this since it's a less expensive model. Instead, you have to remove the base and wash it in the sink. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it is nice to have the dock do everything on the flagships. Another thing that the Q Revo dock can do is dry the mop when it's done cleaning. What's cool is the charging ports are on the back of the robot vacuum, so when it's charging, the mop is in the dock drying. The S8 Pro Ultra also has a mop drying feature, but the mop is in the back away from the dock when the vacuum is charging. It still is able to dry the mop when it's charging, but it's just something to be aware of. The Q Revo has a rubber roller brush on the bottom and a rubber side brush with bristles on the end. To test them out, I gave my baby a snack. I'm pretty sure the baby likes throwing food off her high chair as much as she likes eating it. Okay, let's see how well the vacuum picks it up. The Q Revo does a good job, but there was one Cheerio that got knocked to the side from the side brush. Of course, I'm not going to leave it there. I'm not that lazy. I'll call Luna over to pick it up. The S8 Pro Ultra actually has dual brush rollers, so let's see if it makes much of a difference. It's kind of bizarre, but the same thing happened. All but one Cheerio got picked up. Luna was happy. But you hear that noise on the Q Revo? Yeah, that's the sound of a Cheerio stuck in the main roller brush. The S8 Pro Ultra didn't have this issue because the dual roller brushes probably help with that. The Q Revo has LiDAR so it can map out your floor plan, and it has a nice feature that the S8 Pro Ultra also has, and it's quick mapping. It goes around as fast as possible to map everything out. Normally I just use the remote control and drive around the vacuum to map my house. That way I can avoid areas I don't want it to go, but the mapping process can be annoying, so I appreciate this. Once everything is mapped, you can separate the rooms, mark no-go areas so the vacuum doesn't get stuck, draw a zone for it to clean a certain area, or select a point on the map and it will go there. If the vacuum gets low on battery, it will return to the dock and charge up and finish cleaning where it left off. And there is seriously so much you can configure in the app. Like when to charge if you have peak electricity pricing. You can even tell it to clean your floors in a certain direction. That way you can have it go in the same direction as the lines on the floor to minimize scraping against the floor seams. Pretty much any feature I can dream up and more is available in the Roborock app. Of course, my favorite thing is integrating it into my smart home. It works with Amazon, Google, and there's even a native Home Assistant integration. With the latest Home Assistant update, you can add the Roborock vacuums that use the Roborock app. The features are limited right now, but should get better. If you use Amazon, make sure to add the Roborock Plus skill. This will allow you to do so many voice commands. For example, you can tell the vacuum to clean the kitchen if you've set up that room in the Roborock app. I use this feature all the time and I love it. I recommend creating routines to simplify the voice commands or just setting up a button to clean that room. It makes it so convenient. Alright, so who do I think the Q Revo is for? Let's say you want to save money and still have a really good vacuum and a fancy dual spinning mop. But of course you also want a dock too to make life easier. The Q Revo might be a great fit for you. It's a nice mid-range all-in-one option. But if you have pets or little kids, the flagship vacuums will be better to avoid obstacles. It's also going to give you a more premium experience since the dock will clean itself. Honestly, these are all great robot vacuums though, and hopefully this video was helpful. I linked all 3 robot vacuums below so you can see the prices and exact differences. Thanks for watching.
Dad, I'm doing tricks with our pets.
Sounds good. Wait, pets?
Up, down, shake, roll over, stay. Good girl. Come here. Speak.
Hi, I'm over here.